I still don't know what camera.
Me neither.
I guess we'll just look this direction.
In the GoPros.
You guys, I think we are officially live. This is our second Facebook Live, and I'm so excited because these two are the amazing people that have made this so fascinating.
I know.
Judith, tell us about yourself.
I'm Judith. I work on the assignment desk here at Fox 5, and I research for the Mansion Murders podcast.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
Ronnie?
yeah. I am a photographer here, a photojournalist, and I edit. And I went around with Sarah for a majority of the interviews.
Oh my God,
for the
9
podcast.
months. We've been working on this.
9 months. It's like the end of January.
It's flown by. I can't believe it's been
really
9
has.
months. It feels longer, but yet shorter.
And I'm Sarah Fraser, as Ronnie said, and I'm hosting this, and the three of us have worked on this for the past 9 months, as I mentioned. Yesterday was episode 3, which was the Welder, but it was also a big first time for us because Samantha Went, Darren Went's sister, spoke out for the very first time. She had never talked to press. None of Darren Went's family has ever spoken to the press. His dad, I think you guys probably remember this, Darren's father put out a kind of open letter in 2015, shortly after this had happened, that they asked for their privacy and that if Darren was involved, they hoped that justice would be served. But yesterday we got so many questions, theories, reactions. What did you guys think of episode 3 and Samantha Went?
Are we looking at me? Am I going to go first? Okay. I had a lot of thoughts. I just thought she brought up some really interesting, I mean, again, we have this picture of Darren that, I mean, you talk about it on the episode of, if you Google him, you see all these crazy images, and because he's never spoken, sure, you see the evidence and you have a certain idea of who this guy is. So to put in her perspective, it was really, really interesting. And, I mean, obviously take it with a grain of salt. She's family. But I think she brought a really interesting perspective that brings up a lot of questions. And not so many answers.
Not so many answers. Look, we are live with you guys. You can leave your comments. A lot of people had tons of feedback, tons of comments about Samantha. A lot of people did not find her believable. A lot of people thought she was very coy.
She was a sister.
Yeah, she's a sister. Yeah, as a sister myself, I felt like everything she said was
my sister
normal.
Better go to bat for me.
Right.
Just like Samantha did. Yeah.
And she left a caveat. She was like, hey, I don't know what went on over there. I just know this is what I know. So I think that's all she can say, really.
I have to say, when we were at her house, we went to her home in Maryland. The behind the scenes of this is that we talked to her several times prior. And, every time it was like she'd sort of pause and, you knew she wanted to say something. And then finally, I think she kind of trusted us. And we said to her, look, we'll come, we'll interview you. If you feel uncomfortable, we're not going to air this. We want people to feel this case, because far and away, this story is the most fascinating. It is the most brutal crime that's happened in this area. It has so many questions and complexities. So I found her to be very believable when we were there. I did. I thought she was sincere. I mean,
she was. I agree.
Some of the things I think, I would press my brother about, if he had been involved in the crimes that Darren has been convicted of. There's kind of
I find it interesting that she still, she talked about visiting him and just kind of, did I hear that right? And just kind of the conversations they have?
Yeah, she said that he has really high and low moments, in jail. He's awaiting trial. And she said some days are better than others. So that was definitely, those were some of the big moments on this. If you guys have any questions, you can leave them in the question comment. Yesterday, were there any comments that struck you guys as maybe something we didn't think about? I know for me, one of the ones was there was a woman that came on and she said, I'm sure Samantha, as his sister, knows a different Darren than what we know Darren in the streets. So I thought that was kind of fascinating.
Yeah. There was one comment, and we didn't ask. It was like, well, what was his alibi then?
What was the alibi?
Yeah, and we forgot. When she said that, I was like, yeah, that's a good point. That was not brought
it
up.
almost sounds like maybe they haven't even, we won't know until we ask, but it sounds like maybe they haven't even discussed that between each other. Just from what she said.
I could believe that.
You know what I mean? Like, I think maybe I don't know, but that's an update. Maybe we should get at some point.
I mean, these are the things, like, I feel like it's so great we all do that you guys are listening along and then commenting, because no matter what, it is crowdsourcing. No matter what you do when you're in the story, lots of times you forget to ask questions, and I think that's really a great point. Now, I want to go back and listen to some of the additional audio, because I do remember Samantha telling us that Darren, she had claimed that he had gone to see his girlfriend fairly often in New York.
Okay.
That was not rare.
Okay.
I mean, the rare part is we all know, you know, he spent, I believe, $1,000 on a cab ride back. That didn't really make a lot of sense, you know. So those are all facts of the story that you can kind of look up. Anything else stick out to you before? A lot of people too said, oh, you know, we want to hear more about other people in that arrest warrant, and you guys didn't cover every single detail about Darren. Yeah, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Anything else stand out for you guys in episode 3?
Well, I thought we were talking about it earlier, just kind of what we said before of her perspective, where it kind of just made me think about it in a whole new way, where I think in our mind we've kind of been thinking, just from the evidence that we've seen, that there was some way that he was, well, we know he was there, so therefore he must have been involved in some way, right? But listening to her, obviously she's given the best side, but what if, I mean, they did, if we're taking her at her word, they did know each other for many years in a very close
Savas and
way.
Darren.
Right, Savas and Darren. So what if he was there? What if, yes, he was there, but there were other people there, he saw something, maybe he had things to clean up so that he didn't get in trouble because he thought he would be. I mean, you know, it brings up, thinking about it for me at a totally different angle.
You know, these are verbatim word for word, but on episode 3, you can go back and listen. Robin Ficker, Darren Went's first attorney in this case, says that Darren was there helping Savas and washing cars. That certainly gives an explanation for why DNA is in the home and around the home. That's on episode 3.
They knew each other. He's over there all the time. Is that such a surprise?
So we're getting some questions. A lot of people want to know where to get the podcast. Where can I view episode 1 and 2? That's been the big question. iTunes. Stitcher is a really good one. iTunes, Stitcher, Audible.
Spotify.
I'm not sure that we're on Spotify.
I'm just naming podcast apps I like.
Throwing them out there.
We're on Google Play, though, for Android users, which is really important. I think a lot of people are checking out podcasting for the very first time. If you guys are an iPhone user, you already have that purple podcast app. I know it's probably hard to see in our video, but you already got the purple podcast. Just type that in for your iPhone, and all you have to do is put in The Mansion Murders. It'll pop right up there. What do you guys think for episode 4 coming up? And then I also want to talk about your recap video that people are loving.
No. Episode 3.
Episode 3, your recap video.
Oh, good.
Ronnie did all the videos, by the way.
Yep, you can watch them in our Facebook page.
Shout out to Ronnie.
Yeah.
Tell me,
our Facebook page?
The Mansion Murders podcast Facebook
The Mansion
group.
Murders.
Yes.
Tam is on. Hi, Tam. She says,
Tam.
I'm loving the series. Debbie Brown is on. They found them with the money orders from the money that was brought to him. I think I'm understanding you.
Sure, yeah. Daryl or Darren?
Darren.
They found him from the money orders.
But you're going to find out more about that.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, there's another twist to that.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as just like...
If it was this easy, we wouldn't be doing this podcast. But wait, there's more. It's like the...
Wait,
there's more.
We are that infomercial. So you guys know where to find it. The behind-the-scene videos give amazing context. I know you've been so in this, but do you remember in episode 3, what are some of the important geographical places that people need to know?
Where the Porsche was discovered and on fire.
Yes.
I mean, when we went out there, we had no clue. We'd seen an apartment complex behind the parking lot where the Porsche was set on fire. And then come to find out, when we went to interview the sister, it's like pretty much in the same neighborhood. Like, we were shocked.
Yeah, behind,
like,
behind
super shocked.
the
It's like,
apartment buildings or
and
something?
then, and who was it that, was it episode 2 where the guys were saying like, oh, you know, criminals go where they're
Right.
most familiar with.
Right.
Right. No, that's a good tease for
Right.
episode 4.
Oh, was that 4?
It's okay.
Well, I must say,
We all-
I know
four
for sure.
four
We
is
all
my
get it.
favorite. So next week for sure, guys, tune
No,
in.
but I think that's a really interesting point.
Oh.
Yeah, because
You're so funny.
even in the
It's
charging
all-
docks, they have the surveillance video from around the area, which I think is really interesting. Remember, they had surveillance video listed. So like what's the route? And all of these things are things that we don't necessarily have till the trial, which makes it really, really tough.
Right.
Absolutely. We wanted to do this in real time, which is kind of unusual for a true crime podcast. Most of them, the trials have already happened, or there's some question about the trial. But this one just had so many unknown facts. And the truth of the matter, what we talk about is maybe DC police have investigated all these leads, but they came out at the beginning. They said there were other people. They've never retracted that. So it's kind of like,
Crickets.
is that
cricket sense?
is there somebody else out there? Also, if you guys aren't members of our Facebook group, you should really join. There's a Facebook group dedicated to this, and a lot of information is coming in, a lot of people's comments. It's the Mansion Murders Box 5. All you have to do today is ask to be joined.
Yep.
You'll be in. I wanted to read
And
one.
you get the episodes early too.
You'll get the episodes early. You'll get the video early. I did want to read one really nice message that we got on the Mansion Murders Facebook group, and it's from Carissa Flannery. And she says, I finally made it through the first couple of episodes. I'd been following the case from the beginning. Amy Savopoulos was my sorority sister, and I attended her funeral. Although I was older and didn't know her well at Maryland, she was a sweet girl, beautiful with a heart of gold. This whole story has devastated Delta Gammas across the U.S., but especially those close to her, and this senseless loss. I feel thus far the series has done a really good job. It keeps you wanting to hear more, as any true crime series would. But I did want to say that I don't think taking someone's lack of speaking to you as indication that they were bad people or hiding something. So I think we all wanted to say, you know, we agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to remember.
If you listen to episode 2, it was a deeper look at the Savopoulos family themselves. And I think a lot of people, you know, obviously coming to their defense and saying good things about them. And of course, you know, we feel the same way.
Yeah. I'm glad she brought that up in the group too.
Yeah. I thought that was a
Well,
great
several
message.
people said that as well.
What do you guys, what about today? Next week for episode 4? What do you want to tease, you guys, or what do you think people should sort of look forward to?
My favorite part of episode 4 was kind of like the beginning. We hear from someone who works in where was it? At the parking lot.
Oh yeah, that's a really big moment.
We get a
Episode
witness
4.
who said, you know, they saw Darren like kind of casing the parking lot.
Yes.
And
I
then,
think that's
you know,
interesting.
she says she leaves afterwards, and then 10 minutes later, the Porsche comes in, set on fire, and she doesn't believe that it's Darren Went, the person that was casing the parking lot.
That she saw, right?
Yeah. So that, I think, to me, I was just like blown from that.
We come back to stuff like that, where people are like, yeah, he was there, or yeah, he was around. But I don't think that was him. Like, he was such a, whatever it is, it keeps coming back where, yeah, he was there, yeah, he was around, but there's so many, like, but I don't think that was him. And people who saw him, who, didn't she say he was pacing too? Not to get too much away. And I think that's interesting too, because doesn't that, okay, he's trying to figure something out, right? Maybe something went wrong, whether it's something that he did or something that other people did. Why is he pacing? Maybe he's waiting for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a big moment in episode 4 when you hear from that eyewitness.
No, that was very interesting.
A couple of last questions here. So from Eric Stonelake, who is on our Facebook Live, thank you for joining. Eric says, why do you all think people are so intrigued with this case? You guys have any?
It's got everything.
It does have everything, unfortunately. Yeah, it does. It really does.
To put it in less... Yeah, I mean, it has everything, to put it simply. It's just a terrible, heinous crime.
Yeah,
the
you just want to know, like, what happened with this family. Because it's such a bad crime. Like, it was,
brutal.
You just want to know.
And I think, too, there's one of the things that you find out as this series goes on, there's many things with this case, you know, first of all, of course, the family had money. They were a very nice-looking family. But there's some other strange parts of this, and it was a heinous crime. And that is, you know, especially in the United States in crimes of hostage situations, most people are not held in their own homes for such a long period of time.
Yeah, that's I think the key.
That's very, very strange.
There's a lot of weird, just unusual things, that you wouldn't see if holding them for money was the ultimate outcome. Right. It seems weird that it would have been done in that way.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And I think too, you usually, there were just so many moments in this story that went wrong. And I also think, just from a public safety point of view, of course, everybody wants to know if something else happened to this family and there is someone else out there. I mean, that's something that the public needs to know about.
Yeah, and again, weapons were used from the home. So again, it points something for me in the scenario of either something went wrong, or they were planning it and already knew they were going to take the weapons from the house. But that's, again, that seems okay, but why? That weird, just weird.
Yeah.
And then also Tam says, was it obviously Darren who was caught in the surveillance video running from the burning Porsche, or has that been revealed yet? So that's another good teaser for episode 4.
We have lots of thoughts about that.
Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for joining our Facebook Live today. You can keep your comments coming. Beverlyn Ross says, I'm sure you won't acknowledge my statement. I'm sick of these cold-blooded murderers. You can put them all together. And ... Well, we wanted you to know that we acknowledge all of the comments. We will try and write everyone back. And, everyone is welcome to their opinion on this, which is why we have the Facebook group. Please join. You can put more of your opinions there.
Yeah.
That's where the conversation's happening.
You guys, thank you so much for listening and downloading. We hope that you will also share this with someone. So please do that, and also join our Facebook, The Mansion Murders group. We would like to have you in that.
Yes,
all right, we'll
please.
see you guys next week.
For more secrets.
Take care. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, no. Oh, wait, cut.